My name is Harry Vickers-Toll. I am a founder and managing partner of Alterna Capital Partners, a private equity fund manager with approximately $1.3 billion worth of committed capital and managing approximately $2.5 billion of large commercial assets such as commercial aircraft, ships, power plants, and a range of other very large capital assets that are key to the global operation of the global economy. I'm also a 1975 graduate of Purdue's IDE program. I've been asked to give a short talk on what I've spent my time doing since my Purdue days and how my multidisciplined education from Purdue was a key foundation block of my career. I started at Purdue as a Naval ROTC scholarship student in mechanical engineering. The two commitments were a perfect combination for me, as one gave me a path that was an adventurous career potential and taught me the importance of leadership. The other gave me tools to make good technical and operational decisions in a very challenging environment. How did I choose IDE? As I came closer to graduation, I learned that the IDE program existed and that it allowed a higher degree of flexibility and tailoring of curriculum that I could not easily access as an ME undergrad. I made the switch and never looked back. It allowed me to take a broad mix of courses in nuclear engineering, engineering law, economics, and a series of other disciplines I would later put to good use. In particular, a driving influence in the decision was the fact that, at the time, ME seniors were required to take a design course, the focus of which was designing a washing machine. If you think about it, it makes sense, as a washing machine includes all of the disciplines that an ME is expected to know: fluid mechanics, thermodynamics, controls, structures, linkages, overall a good proving ground for a new ME. I did not want to do that. I and another Purdue engineering friend wanted to design a new type of nuclear power plant facility. Without going into a lot of details, many of which are kind of funny in retrospect, Purdue's at first told us no. But through IDE, we got support from the head of nuclear engineering at the time, which was a part of IDE, and we were off to the races. It was a fantastic project that we ultimately patented. Purdue, as it always does, found a way to inspire and support us. After graduation and commissioning as a Navy ensign, I'd hoped to go to flight school, as I had learned to fly when I was young. That was not to be, as the Navy was just coming out of the Vietnam War, and the fleet had been rode hard and put away wet. They desperately needed engineers. I went to a guided missile cruiser homeported in San Diego, and my job was to be the engineering materiel officer and boilers officer, responsible for all of the non-electronic maintenance and repair of the ship, and for operation of the ship's boilers. I got to do all of the things that make a Navy job great, from completing a shipyard overhaul, to Western Pacific deployment, to getting increasingly responsible jobs in engineering and weapons, doing things still classified, all of which I was proud to be a part of. From there, I went to another ship, homeported in Norfolk, Virginia, and did a Mediterranean deployment and a range of other ops. I ultimately decided, though, that although I loved the Navy, and I still do, I wanted to work with my former Purdue partner on completing the work on the nuclear project. I lived in San Diego for another 2 years as we got that done. Unfortunately, the nuclear power industry was starting its long period of stasis arising from 3 Mile Island, so I needed to find another professional path. This came as an opportunity to move back to Connecticut and go to work for a large bank in New York as an internal consultant on technical matters relating to heavy industries. The concept was that in buying and leasing things like ships, rail equipment, drilling rigs, and other assets, they needed someone to understand the actual design, operation, and maintenance related to the physical assets. I did this for 4 years and was ultimately engaged in much more than just advising on projects, but increasingly in structuring the investments to enhance value and control risk. This is where my education in economics and engineering law, both part of my IDE curriculum, began to add substantial value. At the time, a very serious economic slowdown was starting to emerge, and the ability to take assets from failing companies and operate them directly was a unique and highly valuable skill. Ultimately, I ended up running an offshore drilling company with a repossessed drill ship through relationships with a drilling company in Houston. We used the unique capabilities of the rig to generate return by operating in remote areas of Southeast Asia, my old Navy stomping grounds. The success of the drilling company resulted in my being transferred to the bank's shipping division, where similar economic drivers were causing numerous defaults by their shipping clients. The idea was to repossess the troubled ships and operate our own shipping company. Before that effort was fully executed, I was recruited by another, larger New York financial institution, Citigroup, to do the same thing for them. By this time, multiple industry sectors were under extreme pressure, and banks did not really have much expertise in actual operation of large industrial assets. After a year, I saw an opportunity to take a small group of rail cars and create a rail equipment leasing and operating company. A partner and I were given a green light to see what we could build from it. It was this foundation that we built over 18 years into a highly profitable and diversified business, owning, leasing, and operating over $7 billion of rail equipment, ships, commercial aircraft, power plants, steel facilities, pipelines, and other major asset types. But again, times were changing, and Citigroup merged with Travelers Group, a recent combination of Salomon Brothers, Smith Barney's brokerage business, and the insurance company Travelers Group. Both the culture and strategy of the mothership began to shift substantially, and I was very uncomfortable with where it was headed. Increasingly, financial scandals like Enron and Parmalat, to name just two, were damaging the institution, and I found it difficult to be on the same page with seniors who do not believe in long-term asset investment, only short-term financial trading. So we worked out an exit agreement, and I left. 2 days later, I was on a plane to Laguna Niguel, California, a beautiful coastal town south of LA, to attend a conference of hedge fund and private equity groups. My thought was to see if we could take the strategy we had developed and perfected in my prior jobs and create a new kind of private equity business. Thus began a 2-year journey to the formation of Alterna Capital Partners. A year into that effort, 2 of the managing directors that worked for me at Citi also left, and the 3 of us and another friend from the venture capital world established Alterna. The story from there is a long one, covering the last 10 years. But despite the severe economic slowdown of 2007 and 8 and the difficult times that followed, we were successful in raising an aggregate of $1.3 billion of capital in several investment vehicles over those 10 years, investing in assets we had spent our careers working with. It's been a great ride, and I plan to keep doing this for another 5 years or so. Within the Alterna story, there are a couple of projects I have been able to build that hold particular importance to me. One was taking over a failed ship construction project in a Gulf Coast U.S. shipyard and creating the most capable and sophisticated U.S. coastal product tanker ever built. The name of the vessel is the American Phoenix, and if you want to Google it, you'll see part of the story. Another was building the global supertanker, the world's largest and most sophisticated aerial fighting tanker used in combating wildfires. If you do a search of global supertanker, you'll see an example of the kind of thing that I've spent my post-Navy career working on. So let's circle back to IDE. Would I do it again? Absolutely. Though I did not really realize it at the time, it was the perfect foundation for making the most of the opportunities that were interesting and inspiring to me. It was a common occurrence over these many years to think back to specific courses, which gave me the background knowledge needed to work through a challenge. It is one of the reasons I remain so loyal to Purdue and thankful for my time there. IDE MDE is not for everyone. In my view, it is the perfect fit for those with a desire to hybridize multiple disciplines to create something new, to find a new way of doing things or solving problems. Properly structured, it is an ideal way to multiply the power of basic engineering disciplines into businesses and products that will change the future. Just as a solid underpinning of engineering allows you to see how and why things work or don't technically, the addition of other disciplines allows you to see what is needed to respond to new challenges and understand what technical solutions are likely to be cost-effective, executable, and ultimately successful. Many will tell you that we live in an era of specialization. There is truth to that. But I believe the successful leaders and builders of the future must be more generalists with a range of knowledge and expertise to recognize opportunity and take advantage of it. Thanks for listening, and Hail Purdue.